Today is May 6th, 2026. I'm writing this at 2:35 p.m. Hey guys, my name is Alki, and I'm a streetwear designer here in Denver. Welcome to my streetwear vlogs, journals, basically where I talk about my current life while I show you the process of everything and basically the come up of my streetwear brand. You get to watch me grow my brand from the ground up. That's why I made this channel. So plus, it kind of keeps me motivated and helps me learn as we go through everything. Today's video is pretty simple. We're just going to be ranking old designs and kind of just see what is worth reprinting, what is worth actually getting produced, and what is worth scrapping. So stay tuned for that, guys. All right, guys, we're going to be ranking some designs I've made over the couple of years. There's definitely more. I didn't add everything just because I feel like that'd take a long time. And I have a DJ gig here in 3 hours, so I can't really I'm a little bit in a rush, but I figured I'd make this video and get it out there. So we're using the tier list right now. I'm going to be going over my designs. We'll add another tier and we'll just call it scrap. My first design ever. So this was the first design I ever made. I didn't really know what to call it at the time. It's just called Girl's Face Mock. It actually did surprisingly well. I actually still have a few shirts of it. The blanks that I used was a Shaka wear. So that was the first time I ever used it, or first shirt I ever made. And I had a local clothing company print this for me. Turned out actually pretty good. Turned out a little bit better than I thought it would. Things that I've kind of learned from this shirt is that the clothing tags, I wanted to get more clothing tags better. As I've been getting older and kind of been learning about marketing, social media, and meta ads and all that stuff, I believe this would sell pretty well. I really like this design actually, just because I like the asymmetry that kind of comes along with this, just because everything feels kind of too symmetrical nowadays. So I kind of wanted to change the game. So where would I rank this? I would probably rank this in a B tier, just because there's things I could have done. Also, I didn't really like how the shirt felt, and it wasn't as oversized as I would have liked. I think it was like heavy, but it's kind of like that itchy cotton that I just don't really enjoy that well. So there's a lot of things I learned from this shirt. I mean, it was on my first shirt and it still did pretty well and people still love the design. I would probably reprint this, so I would probably put it in B tier. We'll go to my second design ever. Basically, I just called it Smoke at the time, and this is basically what it looked like. What I learned from the previous shirt, I kind of incorporated onto this one. So what I used for this shirt was I used Rue Porter, like luxury blanks at the time. Of course, this is just a mock-up, so don't take it too seriously. So it was a pure black shirt. It didn't have any like fading or anything. I didn't even know about washes when I first made this shirt. I liked how it felt. I liked the sizing of it and the measurements. It was 11 ounce. It was a thick shirt. And I prefer thicker shirts anyways, and I prefer baggy clothes because tight clothes make me feel uncomfortable, and I like being comfortable. I don't know if I'm just autistic or what it is, but basically the design was, I think I found it on Pexels or on Splash, and I just looked up like smoking or like girl smoking, and pretty easy to make. I just used threshold and kind of just cut out what I really wanted, and I just did this. This one sold pretty well. I learned from my mistakes from the previous shirts. I think I am going to reprint this, and I'm going to put it in the A tier. We'll go to my third design ever. This is my third design ever made, called Ecstasy. I like this one because I don't really know what to say about this one because it turned out really well. It sold pretty well throughout like my consignments and everything, and people liked this design a lot. I personally still wear this shirt, even though it's been like 3 years and the collar's starting to like basically fail on me. I think all of this was stock images or stock photos, maybe one I found on Google as well. This is like before I even knew Pinterest existed, and the blank that I used on this was AS color, and they're good blanks, don't get me wrong. It wasn't as thick as I wanted it to be. I didn't know you could learn about like distressing and stuff later through like manufacturers, through Alibaba and everything like that. I do like the fonts I use. I do like the colors that I used as well. I messed around with a bit more with this, so I got a little more creative freedom. Like I was messing with like ellipses and like the blur effect. That was just a stock image on the right. I think I used threshold and then used like a gradient to kind of like just go over everything to give it that same kind of feel and color. And it turned out pretty well. I have definition of ecstasy right here and the word of it. The definition's right under the word. And I kind of like the dots that came with it as well. And I do like the eyeball because if you've ever done ecstasy, you might know what I'm talking about. And personally, I've actually never done it, but I've done other things that are similar to it. So not saying to go out and do it, but yeah, I would say I would rank this shirt probably an A, just because it's my third shirt. It did pretty well. A lot of people liked it. And personally, I still wear it to this day. And I still wear the smoke shirt as well. I still wear this one till this day. So all these 3 designs were made 3 years ago, and then I kind of took a little bit of a break. Then we'll go into my first collection ever. This was my first hoodie I ever made. It turned out actually really well. I'm actually currently wearing it. I actually love this hoodie. I love the manufacturer that I was working with because I had no idea what tech packs were, and they showed me pictures the entire way through. They were helping me on like the sizing, the design, how big I wanted it. The design was embroidered on this hoodie. I don't know how big it is, but it's pretty small, the design. But I love the distressing that they did around the hoodie. They got distressing around like the kangaroo pocket or whatever you call it, and like the hoodie opening. So they put distressing around that. I really like the color of it as well. It's not like fully black. It's kind of like a dark gray, and it had some kind of wash on it. So this is when I just started learning about Alibaba and manufacturing. So you can see like the distressing around it on the pockets and the design. The design I really liked because it was pretty simple. It was just like a cigarette pack with a skeleton, like a side view of a skeleton. And it turned out actually really well. It was my first hoodie to ever sell out, and I was pretty skeptical because I ended up spending like $2,000 on like 50 hoodies, and I was like, I'm not someone who likes to spend money and like get bent over. I would love to make this hoodie again. However, the manufacturer that made it isn't answering me. So when I go to their like production page, it like doesn't exist anymore. So I don't really know what happened to them. So I'll do my best to recreate this hoodie because I love it and a lot of other people love it as well. I love the sizing of it. I love the measurements. I love the weight of it. It's a great hoodie. So I believe I'm just going to put this guy in S tier. So we'll do the hat. So this is the mock-up of the hat. Honestly, it's pretty similar to this. It's just a little bit more gray. Personally, I'm not a hat person. I have a big fucking head, so I don't really wear hats. And I don't know. Hats are cope anyways. Not really. Wear your fucking hats if you want to wear your hats, but I just don't really wear hats. Just as not who I am. I use a different manufacturer for this one because I had no idea how to make a hat. I just found a couple designs on Pinterest, and I was like, this could be a good hat. I currently have broke even with them. I haven't sold out of them yet ever since it's been like a year or so. When did I start these in? I put these in 2025. These were 2025 actually. Most of them sold during the summer, which is what I'm kind of hoping for anyways. I didn't send them a tech pack. I kind of just sent them this mock-up and I was like, hey, can you guys recreate this? Because I had no idea what a tech pack even was till a little bit later after this collection, unfortunately. But it is what it is. But people still bought it and people still liked it. Honestly, I put this probably in B tier just because it was my first. So the skeleton collection was 2025 collection. These 2 shirts, the smoke shirt and the ecstasy shirt, those were made in 2024, and then this shirt was made in 2023. So that is when I started my streetwear journey, was in 2023, and I've been slowly kind of learning more and more. I wasn't here to rush into things. I just wanted to make sure my designs sold, so I sold them at my consignments, and that's kind of how I went about things. This was the first pair of pants I've ever made. Again, this is when I was just first learning about manufacturing and like measurements and all the designs that I didn't know how much actually went into clothing designing until like last year. I actually really like these pants. There are some things that I wish I did differently when I made these. I didn't really have like a fixed logo back then or like a permanent logo because I didn't know what to do with it yet and how to put it on my designs. But actually, no, with the skeleton collection, I didn't make a clothing tag as well, like a specific one, which is something I really regret. However, it is what it is, and I started learning more of what you're supposed to send, and this is when I didn't even know what a tech pack was. I'm thinking about putting it in B tier. I actually really like the design, and people actually really liked it. They turned out they were pretty baggy. They weren't like those balloon baggy pants because I don't really like those that much because they're too baggy. But they were a little bit baggy for my size. These go well with like a great pair of boots like Doc Martens or something because they have a tendency to kind of droop a little bit towards the ankle. I would like it a little bit above there, but it is what it is. I didn't really know what to do with these. I did have a logo back then, but it wasn't my permanent logo. And I still haven't sold out of these, but people still buy them at the consignments that I have them laying down. However, I would definitely reprint these and change a couple of things. like the leather tag in the back and then just like the sewn in tag as well. I keep the design. The wash turned out really good. They were pretty heavy. I liked how they turned out. And then I'd probably change some of the measurements as well if I were to do that. So we're going to put this in C tier. It was my first pair of pants, so it was all right. Pants is something I definitely have to work on though. So we're going to go into my next collection of 2026 of this year. We're going to go with this shirt. With this shirt, you can see that I have a sewn in tag right there, and that's something I definitely learned. I do like how the size of the shirt turned out and the wash of it. It's not completely black. It's like a vintage, maybe. I like the design a lot. I've had this design since like 2023 when I was going through stock images, and it's just a guy smoking a cigarette with a bunch of tattoos, and I really liked it, and I was still waiting to wear it. It's kind of like the other smoking mock-up with the asymmetrical design. I kind of like putting things towards like the left or the right of the shirt. I don't know. I don't know what it is about it. I just kind of enjoy it. So I guess that's just part of my designing. Something I'm really going to hone in on this year is, well, first off, more designs and collections and stuff. But I'm starting to like distress like the sleeve, like the edges of each part of the clothing. So like the collar, the sleeves, and like I don't even know what you would call this. See, like I'm still learning. Like I don't know every part of the fucking clothes or like the shirt or let's see, things I would do differently for the shirt. I don't know. People have been slowly buying it through the consignment. I mean, I just put it in there, and then I'm slowly going to learn, well, I want to do meta ads as well, see how that goes, and then so we can do that too. But I don't think I have any regrets with this one. I really liked how it turned out, but I will put it into A tier just because I don't know how it's going to sell. So we're going to try that later. And then we're going to go into the hoodie of this year. So this is my slow burn hoodie. That is what I called it. This is a cropped hoodie. So this year I've been learning more about measurements and all that kind of stuff. I learned you can kind of just steal some other people's measurements and kind of go about that way. Of course, there's still more I have to learn and do stuff like that. But I really like the thickness of the hoodie. I'm not someone who really wears cropped clothing, but I've worn this hoodie quite a bit. I really liked how it turned out. I want to wear it more often, see if it gets compliments, because I like when I wear my own clothes and get compliments, because I just kind of direct them towards my website, see if they want to buy anything like that. Honestly, I don't really have any complaints about this hoodie. The design was really simple. I think I just went on Google, looked up like cigarette PNG, then went to Photoshop and used like the find edges. Yeah, the find edges tool or something, or what, not, it's not a tool, but you know what I mean. And I basically used some threshold, added some red to it, and got it printed in the middle of the hoodie. It looks more white in this photo. However, when I got the hoodie, it was kind of like a light gray, like a really light gray, not as white as I've wanted it to be, unfortunately. And I'm not going to go back and just complain about it and fix it, because I believe it will still sell anyways, but we'll try that as well, especially when I get better at marketing and doing all of that. I'm going to put this into A tier as well. Maybe I'm just a little biased with these. All right, these are the pants of my 2026 spring collection. So this is going to go in with the two before. I found both of these on Pinterest and I really liked them and kind of made them a little bit different. The design on the left leg, I'm glad I changed the original design because it didn't really turn out that good. It kind of looked weird. So I originally had this design in the middle of both of the pant legs, and I didn't really like how it turned out. So I moved it over here. I really like the design of it, actually. I use the same tool that I use for all of them, which was the find edges tool and then use threshold. I kind of have a tendency to do that with a lot of my designs, and I think that's kind of going to be my style. Another thing with the pants, I added some distressing on the end of the legs. And then I got this print patch sewn on there. I kind of liked how it turned out. I was going for like a Banksy color vibe, because Banksy uses a lot of white, black, and red. So that was kind of my inspiration for this style. It wasn't necessarily like the meaning behind Banksy, because he does a lot of like political, like activism kind of stuff. But I really like that I use the clothing tag. It has a custom clothing tag and a custom leather tag of my permanent logo now, of the person, of like the statue falling. So I learned a lot more. Of course, there's some stuff that I wish I kind of figured out a little bit. So these are still the same measurements of the previous jeans, the skeleton jeans. So I still think they're a little bit too baggy for my liking. However, I think it still work well. I think I'm just going to change a little bit of the bagginess, and hopefully we can go from there. I will put this in a B tier. right now because I personally still wear all of these clothes. So we basically got done with all the clothes that I have produced. That's all I got for these rankings. Stay tuned for the next ones. I'm going to be making more designs this year and hopefully we can get more tier lists. Hey, if you guys like these videos, feel free to click the subscribe button. Let me know what you think of my rankings and if you would change anything. I'd like to know your thoughts in the comments. All of my links are in the description. Follow me there if you want to check out my website, purchase any of my clothes, or just to keep up with me. I appreciate you guys, and I'll talk to you soon.